that I want you to recognize is be able to replicate and duplicate. Replicate and duplicate. So that'll be your research and development in this world. In the federal employee benefit program, we are having some tremendous success. In the mortgage protection program, we've got folks converting leads, and you'll hear that on next Tuesday's webinar. I'm just going to grab some of my most recent mortgage protection leads. I'm just going to go live on the phone. So every Tuesday, you've got a webinar that truly is a webinar. Today is really just a phone call. It's a conference call that we use the GoToWebinar platform so that you can ask questions and we don't have to unmute your mic. You can have a lot of noise in the background and you can connect to us just through typing out a question. And you want to be ready for some questions for our speaker this morning. Our speaker this morning has made tremendous strides currently in the federal employee benefit program. But I want you to hear what Matt has also done in the mortgage protection as well as the final expense, and what kind of success that he brought to the mortgage protection or to the federal program came from his roots in mortgage protection. He found out a way to be able to just plow through, make phone calls. I want you to hear how many appointments he's been setting. And how many he's set with the mortgage protection field, and how he's been able to convert a six-figure income, $100,000 income on the mortgage protection side, to he's on track, guys, to be well over $200,000 and an outside shot at $300,000 this year in the federal market program. So, I mean, it's numbers that many people have never heard of. Many people are kind of wowed by, but I want you to hear just the very basic steps that you need to do to be able to have those type of successes, and what it takes to have those successes. Before anything else, you're going to hear from Alicia and her email. You'll hear her email, you'll hear her direct line here in just a minute, and they will tell, and that will give you a direct access to Alicia. If you need an application, you need pricing software, you need an ELF form, a in-home form, you will be able to just contact Alicia and she can get all those things for you. And she will go over our life board. So meaning that if you have had any simplified issue or fully underwritten life business, if you're on this call, we should know your numbers. We are just going by what numbers we're seeing come through, and it may be a week or 2 weeks old, but if you had numbers this last week, I want you to text them to me, email me them during the week so I can include you in this call. And Alicia will start with a annuity producer this week, as well as what I kind of talk about double dippers, those folks who are on the mortgage protection team, final expense or federal program, and they're also writing annuities. That's huge. That's really protecting your client's interest. Alicia, would you be so kind to lead us in our leaderboard?
Good morning and happy Friday to you all. Can't wait to get the 3-day weekend started. So we're going to get straight to the leaderboard. This is for the 5th week of June. We'll start with the top annuity producers for the week. These agents' submitted annuities are all over $100,000. So number 2 is James Spalding. One application, $168,000. And the number 1 top annuity producer for the 4th week of June is Aaron Joyce. One application, $800,000. Wow, Aaron, amazing. Congrats to you, James, as well. And now we'll move on to the agents that are writing both life and annuity business, the double dippers. The first double dipper is Vern Barkdale. 3 applications, $71,324. And the second double dipper is Eric Coons. 1 application for $88,000. And now we'll move on to the top 20 life producers for the 5th week of June. All of these agents have written a minimum of $1,800 in business this week. At number 20, we have Andre Dane. 2 applications, $1,870. Number 19, Leonore Cortez, 1 application, $1,890. Number 18, Adam Dar, 3 applications, $1,949. Number 17, Paul Kozak, 2 applications, $1,982. Number 16, John Kohler, 1 application, $2,355. In the number 15 spot, we have Kevin Bianchi, 6 applications, $2,741. Number 14, Ginger Barnes, 6 applications, $2,943. Number 13, Jay Teague, 4 applications, $3,030. And number 12, James DeWitt, 1 application, $4,189. Number 11, Danielle Byrne, 4 applications, $4,596. And now for your top 10. And number 10 is Doug Voigt, 6 applications, $4,805. Greg Stanley comes in at number 9 with 1 application, $5,227 in annualized premium. Number 8, James Messer, 4 applications, $5,344. Number 7, Kevin Kennard, 1 application, $6,068. Number 6, Brian Elston, 2 applications, $7,175. And now for your top 5 life producers for this week. Number 5, Tim Lankford, 2 applications, $7,800. Number 4, James DeWitt, 1 application, $8,982. Number 3, Josh Civic, 12 applications, $11,623. Number 2, Thomas Faveda, 3 applications, $12,320. And your number 1 top life producer for the 5th week of June is Autry Douglas, 3 applications, $13,469. Congrats to Autry into the top 20. Those were some awesome numbers this week. As always, if you guys need to reach me, I'm at extension 178, or you can always email me at elisha@gordonmarketing.com, and that's ELISHA. Hope everyone enjoys the long holiday weekend. Back to you, Tim.
Well, thank you, Miss Alicia. Nice numbers, guys. I continue to be impressed. It is terrific to be able to hear those boards increase and to know the families that you're making a difference for. Everything in every fiber in my body says, I want to protect my family. I want to give them incredible opportunities. I want to be able to bless them, as you hear from me each week, to be able to be on the to be able to be in the safest vehicle that they make, that I can afford, that they can be in the nicest home, that I can have them in a safe home, have my daughter in the best schools, be able to, as you know, my desire to be the number 1 tither in my church, not because I want to, and I want only really the board of trustees to know where it's coming from. The pastor doesn't need to know. Nobody else around me needs to know. I want to have that, so that not because it says, yay, Tim, I want it because it says what our church is doing to impact the lives of other people. When you hear Matt speak, Matt is coming from a perspective of major numbers, or coming from a world of major numbers. It'll blow you away, but don't let it. Matt, you meet Matt, your first impression is, this guy's from New Jersey. That's the only impression you get. Matt doesn't come off as some slick, sly salesman guy. He comes off as a very real person. Now, from us in Hoosier land, I'm over here in Indiana, it's just like, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to follow what this New Jersey guy is going to be doing. And you know what it was? It was just the opposite. the presentation that because I had Matt come in. I've done mortgage protection. I've done final expense. I've sold a little bit of annuities, single premium whole lives, IULs. The Fed program was a little bit of a nuance, a big nuance to me of uncharted territories. And yet riding with Matt for a couple days and just seeing again how real he is and how he puts on that consultant hat much more so than I have ever had in this business. It was just eye-opening. So I want you guys now, Matt. Can you connect, Matt? I don't see you. You've texted me saying that you're on. Can you hear me? Can you unmute your mic and everyone can hear you? Or I may need to call you on the cell phone. Matt, I'm going to go ahead and call you. For some reason, I'm not connecting to be able to unmute you. Unless you've come in from underneath some other name. I've got it goes from Florida, Maryland to Mark to Michael to Mickey. So I'm going to go ahead and call you Matt. Unless you came in a different name, we'll use this as our mode of communication.
Hey, Tim.
Mr. Matt, you are coming through loud and clear via the cell phone. Thank you.
Excellent.
For being on this call. I appreciate you so much. Appreciate how simple you make this business, and I say this business because I know your background that I want you to share maybe specifically with the folks that we have on the call this morning, specifically thinking about mortgage protection and the tremendous success you had in the mortgage protection. You've just parlayed that, and you've got the same activity, you've got the same, really almost the same phone script, and you're running the same amount of appointments. You've just tripled and quadrupled your income. But take us back and think of just a mortgage protection of how many dials did it usually take you to set how many appointments in order to be able to earn a six-figure income? But maybe introduce yourself to everybody and let them know we're looking strong in over about 40 states right now, Matt.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm here in New Jersey. Been in the business for I think it's 7 or 8 years now, Tim, and never, took me a little while to find how to be successful. One was to bring value to the clients, and number two, which probably should actually be number one, Tim, is how to create activity. That's something that I almost didn't grasp for the first couple years in the business, because I didn't have this, I didn't have phone calls like this when I first started. I was with Aflac, and then I was on my own, and I didn't really hear good phone calls like this. So it took me a while to understand that, I don't ever think about what commissions are coming in or not coming in. I don't care about what appointments are set for this week, in the coming days, or next week. My activity is just, we talk about this all the time. I have multiple appointments lined up every day. My prospecting is done on a super high consistent rate, which is all days on Monday, and then consistently throughout the week, Tim, is I make phone calls in between appointments. I make phone calls, I'll have an appointment or two, and then I grab some lunch, and then I make, 15 or 20 more phone calls in the car. And that way I get really consistent, and my activity level is high, and when an appointment falls off or someone doesn't, who told me that they want to take the, cancels, those things don't even deter me for 1 second. I don't even blink at that. Okay, I just got an email. Lady I wrote up yesterday. I have some questions about the tax deferred savings. okay, great. If she takes it, I value her as a client, and I value the business. If she doesn't take it, I'll forget her name tomorrow. And that's what you really want to strive for. And, you know, no case will ever make you retire, and no case will put you out of business. And when you have that mindset and you're just, you know, every day, 3, 4, 5 appointments, your business will really start taking off. And then you can deal with, once you get in front of the people, then we can start dealing with what kind of value you're bringing to them.
Very cool. So you went from Aflac, and I think I remember you saying that you even had a little bit of New York Life history in you, and you started focusing in on the mortgage protection side, and you've kind of used that as a platform now to be leading the way literally every week since the beginning of the year with the Federal Employee Benefit Program. What's been some of the how would I describe it? Comparables. What has been you've seen consistent in each field? What's making you stay active and be able to have such results from your activity?
I'll tell you what it is. What I learned from an experienced producer a couple years ago was how to bring value to clients and not just to sell a life insurance policy.
Thank you.
That was something that really changed. And I know, Tim, that you're becoming, you know, really exceptional with the process that me and you worked on together. Is that a lot of the time I don't even talk about death benefits, right? But it's the value of the contract that will help your client and their family. And if you position it as something that they want and need rather than, you know, an additional bill that they have to pay, you'll see a different response from people. And I've done it in the mortgage protection. I've done it in the Fed. I've done it in, you know, referrals and straight retirement planning. But when you bring a real value to people, you get a different response. You're not really a life insurance salesman anymore. I don't even bring that stuff up anymore. I don't even bring, you know, you don't even want to tell people I don't tell people ever that I'm a life insurance salesman. You know, what kind of, you know, you want to do the holistic approach and bring real value to your clients, and they will beg you to take their money.
I remember when you and I ran for those couple days here a couple months ago, I really just caught on to the fact that you almost didn't talk about life insurance. It kept on being, how do we make your inefficient, where's any place that you may be using some inefficient dollars, and let's make them work harder for you. And life insurance was a second thought, a third thought. It was so far back there that you got your clients to focus in on a tax advantage that they will have in later years versus just trying to sell them some life insurance.
Well, what's happening, Tim, is that people kind of are starting to look at themselves as, well, one, that they're betting on that they're going to live. That's number one. People are living way, way, way longer than they were 35, 40 years ago. Okay? And they want to know how they do want to protect their family. Okay? And I understand that. And, you know, you can protect incomes and you can, change over group life insurance. But really, when you position it as, hey, listen, we can protect your family, but this is also going to benefit you while you're here, while you're living, and making it as this is a real asset for you. It changes everything. It just changes everything. You know, this is good. You know, people care about their retirements. They care about their 401ks and their TSPs. And if you make this part of that, while insuring them at the same time, you know, and you see it, Tim, you're getting the different responses, and that's what's happening, and that's why I'm getting such huge success.
Thanks to you and a little bit of a paradigm shift, folks, even when you're sitting with somebody who has sent in a mortgage protection lead, remember what I've preached over now that I've been running with this department for the last year and a half, since February of 2015, you've always heard me preach, this isn't about life insurance. The federal employee doesn't need more life insurance. Don't be going in talking about life insurance. Same way with the mortgage protection. How are we going to protect your mortgage? Of course, it's talking about dying, but what about if they don't die? So it's not just life insurance. If you will focus in on, let's take care of the need of protecting your mortgage versus buying more life insurance, you will become a much more successful mortgage protection specialist, especially on the federal side. Matt is tremendously successful because he's not going in talking about life insurance. I'm hearing frustration in several of our agents' phone calls of, well, they don't need any more life insurance. Well, that's indicative of why you shouldn't have been talking about life insurance. But
can I jump in real quick for 1 second, Tim, on that thought?
Please.
When someone says, I don't need any more life insurance, and that means that they have life insurance, that is music to my ears. So instead of saying, oh, I want to sell you a new policy, right? Say, let's review those contracts. What do you have in place? Do you really know what this contract means? I was at a federal employee's house the other day. She had a whole life insurance policy, right? That she paid with her husband. They paid $70 a month. Turns out there was $10,000 of cash value in there. Do you know what kind of policy it was, Tim? A second to die.
Ouch.
If her husband died, she would get nothing. The only money that would go to is when the second spouse died. And she was seriously astounded that was the contract that she had. She could not believe it. And instead of pushing people to have new coverage, be a consultant in there. How long have you been paying for these contracts? Do you know what they mean? Do you know what they do? Do you know when they're going to end? Do you know if there's cash value in them? What does it mean to you? Why did you buy these? And when you start saying stuff like this, their guard goes down instantly. And they look to you for real advice on how to proceed and to make sure that them and their family are not even protected correctly, but just they're planning correctly, regardless of whether it's about coverage or cash value or whatever it is about. When you talk like that, you'll see a different response.
And let's translate, let's transfer that same mentality when you're sitting with a mortgage protection client. That same intensity to say, what are you banking your future on now? Now, we've got a little bit of an advantage over the federal employee because that federal employee, they are just looking for you to take a look at their benefits. Now, beyond that, we get to, 90% of the times, we can better their position with an advantage Forester's Advantage Plus, showing them a fourth way to retire. Get thinking about that same scenario, but now you're sitting with somebody, if you're sitting with somebody who has sent in a mortgage protection lead, they have straight up said, we've got a need. So you've got a little bit of an advantage. If you're running a mortgage protection lead, there's an advantage there because they've already said, because they wouldn't have taken the time. Remember, we're only getting a 1% response. We're getting a much higher response than that with the federal lead because we're simply going in as an advisor. With the mortgage protection, they are such a small response, but my goodness, if there's anything so crudely that we will say is a laydown, guys, that mortgage protection lead is a laydown in a very, very true sense. Matt, in a typical week, in order to be able to be averaging since the beginning of the year, well over $5,000 of submitted business per week, on average, what would you say since the beginning of the year your weekly appointments are? Just to put things in perspective for people on the call.
I would say 8 to 10 appointments minimum.
Guys, take this to heart. Matt is very good in the home. He's had very excellent training. So if you are trying to make more than your $50 or $60 or $70,000 and you're trying to do that on 4 or 5 appointments, you immediately start to see where you're deficient. Because if you're even better than Matt and yet you're still only on that 4 or 5, you have to be 100% better than Matt in order to be able to have his type of results. I'll challenge anybody after seeing Matt in the home, first off, if you're better, by second off, to ever even think about you being twice as good as Matt in the home. My point to all that is activity. How many phone calls typically are you doing in a week to get 8 to 10 appointments?
At least 100.
Minimally, right? And we're talking to people who have really no inkling of any sales. So it's once we get to them, we've filled up the appointment. It is easier, to be frank with you guys, if you get a hold of your employee. That's the tough part. But if you get a hold of them, I'm finding it's easier to set that appointment than it is on mortgage protection. Let's see. We've got a couple questions here, Matt, and I promised you to try to keep it as close to 11:30 as possible. I know your schedule's crazy, but if you could allow me just a couple questions. Do you have time for just a few?
Go ahead. Yeah, you're fine.
Thank you. Good. Okay, so I think we just answered Takesha's question. We've kind of come back to the leads. Takesha was starting with it, but hopefully that helps there. And then your typical week, I know you're pretty much dedicating Monday for dialing. You're dialing in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. Do you call each lead once? Do you call it twice? And then do you throw it away? What happens to a lead that you can't get a hold of, or how many times will you call that lead, maybe even on a daily basis?
I don't ever throw leads out, and then literally never. So even if the person says "Oh, I am not interested," they'll probably hear back from us in a month. I call the leads. It's just so consistent. I just have piles of people to call, Tim, and I don't ever. There's no end to it. You're not done. It's like being in good shape. You don't hit being in good shape and then end, right? Oh, I'm in good shape now. I don't have to go to the gym anymore. Doesn't work like that, right? You have to train consistently to maintain that. And it's the same way with your prospecting. It's ongoing basis. When you're busy, you push harder. And when you push harder and you get even more busy, then you might end up becoming a little bit more selective and you lean less on leads and more on referrals. But guys who are making $1 million a year in this business are prospecting consistently. Because if they didn't, the premium wouldn't be there. So every day, set aside, put it in your Google Calendar. Time for prospecting. Monday, office day. 6 to 8 hours of prospecting. Just on Mondays, no matter what. that throughout the week, if you don't have a morning appointment, you got to treat it as a 9 to 5 job, even though I work like 70 hours a week. But 9 to 5, you hit 9 o'clock, you got to start making phone calls. If you're not on an appointment, that time is spent prospecting.
Are you running? How many days are you typically running leads? Are you running more than 7, or are you running 7 days a week? Well, it would be 6 days a week of leads, of appointments, or how many days do you actually sit with folks?
It's like Tuesday through Saturday, usually Friday. But I go late. You know, I go 5 appointments a day. I'll go to, last night I didn't get home till 10 o'clock. So, you know, they're long days. They're long days.
And you can, for somebody who is, I'll put this out to everybody listening, for you to be ambitiously wanting to get to that 6-figure mark, if you can put together 4 days in the field with at least 3 appointments a day. So we're talking about 12 appointments. 4 days in the field, it'd be ideal if you could include Saturday in there, and then 3 days during the week. You will be, if you follow our system, you will be in the top 1% income earners. Guys, I run typically less than 8 appointments a week. So I'm between 6 and 8. If you know my role, I've got a 50 to 60 hour job at Gordon Marketing, which I'm very honored to be a part of to help our agents achieve. I am also running appointments. I'll sneak in a couple appointments in the evening. I've got one appointment that after this call, I'm heading out to an hour and a half away to talk to an agency just north of us, and I'm going to follow that up with an appointment for a federal business. So you can manage your schedule. I say all that because I'll do no more than 20 hours a week running my federal and mortgage protection leads. So far, year to date, I'm about $70,000 in, guys, in 5 months. Guys, or 6 months now. This business doesn't have to be 120 hours a week. It does not have to be. Be smart with your schedule. Listen to Matt. He's got specific times he's setting aside. Don't just listen to sports radio or talk radio in between your appointments. Safely call your next leads. If you have a half an hour, don't go blow it off by grabbing a Starbucks. Go and sit in the Starbucks, or sit better in your car so you don't have the extra noise, and call for 30 minutes to set up the next appointment. You don't have to have 40 appointments a week in order to be successful in this business. You can have, ideally, 10 appointments a week. Ideal would be 10 appointments a week, and Matt and I will show you how to be a top performer. Matt, you've been terrific. I appreciate it. And I've got a couple questions here, guys. I will answer offline without taking any more time from you, Matt. You keep going after it, man. You are leading. You're leading the way. You're blazing the path for us to try to rob and duplicate. I guess if I want to go, instead of replicate, let's rob it. Go ahead and rob from Matt. He will allow you to rob his presentation from him. So steal his presentation, make it your own, but follow the essence of his presentation. You can see some of my presentations on YouTube, and just type in mortgage protection Tim Lankford, and you'll get about 40 hits of conference calls and seminars and videos we've got uploaded on YouTube. So just YouTube and my name, followed or preceded by mortgage protection. Type in mortgage protection and go in with Tim Lankford. And Kathy, you can see Matt's presentation. Matt's presentation is really set aside just for the federal employee advisors. But go to my video presentation. It is not as good as Matt's, but it's got its bare essence there. Unless you're interested in the federal employee lead program, then we could get you some more information there. And two more things before I let Matt go. Matt, we've got a big event coming up for those who are on the federal side coming up in August, don't we?
Yeah, I think there's one in Mississippi at Meridian One Life headquarters, which has teamed up with Gordon. And then we have another one in Sacramento. So a lot of great stuff going on. Looking to start some, a lot of federal employees have some locations that are open for territories that we need good agents to fill. And we're already having a lot of success with people that started back in May, and look forward to seeing people out there to get started and get that premium in.
Dynamite. The training in Meridian is also twofold. So if you've not got your chartered membership that Matt has, I have, and Richard has, we are chartered members of LIMRA on the Federal Employee Benefits side. We are we are LIMRA qualified advisors. So we have that training going on in Meridian, Mississippi that you can go down and be a part of, or if you want to be a part of the training to become an advisor, that's going on in Meridian, Mississippi as well. And that training is August 1st through 3rd. You will be put up in a very nice hotel. I think we were in the Courtyard last in May, weren't we, Matt? Was it Courtyard?
Yeah, great place. I forgot, but yeah.
Courtyard,
hotel, and got some nice restaurants around the corner.
Well, beyond that, they didn't even really need restaurants. I mean, we were fed, we were housed in a wonderful hotel, and the training for $100, guys. All you have to do is get there. So lots of opportunities for you to be able to train as well as to be able to have some camaraderie with other folks in the field. Guys, I'm going to encourage you by 3. Matthew, thank you, my friend. I look forward to spending some time with you down in Meridian here in just a few weeks.
Oh, can't wait, Tim.
Guys, this is tremendous. I have recorded this, so we are. You'll be able to see this or hear this call again if you wanted to hear some more of Matt. As you're going to an appointment, so much more beneficial for you to listen to these webinars, conference calls, than to be turning on pop culture radio or talk shows. I love my sports talk radio, but I've turned my car more into a library and a university because I've got, right now I'm going through a series of DVDs talking about closing the sale. Constant learning, constant achieving, make a difference for people in the field. Remember, that's the words that I want to leave you with. I want to tell you that there's 3 things, 3 levels of ambition that I would love to see you accomplish. Number 1 is for you to make it happen for your income. If you will make it happen for your income, that means number 2 is going to be taken care of. Because if you're making it happen for your income, you're making it happen for your family, the house that you live in, the cars that you drive, the schools that your children go to. Making it happen for your favorite charity, your church. Become the number 1 tither in your church. And number 3 takes care of number 1 and number 2. If you will be an agent who will make it happen for that family in the field, for that employee that you sit with, for that home that you protect, if you will make it happen for that family, for that employee, number 1 and number 2 will always follow. Appreciate you guys. I honor you for the time that you've set aside here. Make sure that you connect on Tuesday. You will hear live phone calls. I'll probably mix in some of my federal clients in there, or federal employees in there as well. And then I've got half a dozen mortgage protection leads that will call that morning live and see if they reach. See if we're able to reach them on the phone. I'll go through about 15 minutes of a webinar and just talk about the essence of how to make a phone, how to set an appointment over the phone. Guys, God bless you. Have a great and safe 4th of July.